So Paul, I think that there's a couple other areas that, as we've started to build at Alpha and build our packs and build our kind of knowledge base, there's a couple other areas that I found to be super exciting.
Sure.
One of them is women who are perimenopausal or menopausal. Like, I noticed this actually with my own family, with my wife, my sister, and, you know, you start to kind of see what it's like, because I don't really know that much about it, right? My field of medicine is carpentry. Like, I do, like, you know, foot and ankle surgery. And so I don't really know much about it. But as I've seen my own family going through it, you know, the medications that are used are mostly hormones. And it's like a crapshoot. Like, it's like, okay, take this much. Oh, it didn't work? Okay, take this much. Oh, it didn't work? Okay, take this much. And then there's side effects and mood disorders and like hormonal issues. And, you know, hormones are everything. And I think that there's ways to possibly use peptides either instead of or in conjunction with for women who are perimenopausal and menopausal. So let's talk about that.
Sure.
Tell me a few peptides that you suggest, and why.
100%. And not too long ago, there was a menopause summit in Phoenix last year, or maybe like about 18 months ago now. And one of my good friends, Sharon, who's a clinic owner here in Vegas, she was going to that, and with her I wrote up a menopause optimization pack that we've also used part of with our doctors to take a look at, to incorporate with what we want to do. Because as we know, and you brought up a great point, women are the most underserved market when it comes to health and wellness. And what's interesting is they're probably about 80% of the market too. So when it comes to things like perimenopause and menopause in general, what we want to look at is how do we bring back the overall wellness and the mood, and peptides that would help with that, and also libido, are going to be first and foremost, we would look at PT141 and oxytocin.
Right.
So those two right there, what they're doing, and what PT141 actually has its FDA approval for females, is for sexual desire, sexual frequency, and orgasm scores all go through the roof.
But it does more than that.
Much. Because what it'll also do is help with the overall mood. And when you pair that with oxytocin, which is what we call the love hormone, the chemical bonding hormone that brings people together, we've saved marriages with that, with those two compounds alone.
Right. What about from a hormonal standpoint, right? Like, so, you know, you're finding that women are now being put on all these different hormones to control the menopause issues. What can we do to help with those?
So typically what's going on with ladies, what they're trying to do is balance out their testosterone, their estradiol, their progesterone. And that's where we're seeing that, just as you mentioned, they go, oh, we did a little bit too much, dial it back. Oh, we got to put you on the 80-20 bias cream. Oh, no, that wasn't enough. Let's go to 50-50. Let's do this, that. So by dialing the hormones in, and then at the same time using something like a growth hormone releasing peptide to really help with their sleep, in addition to the unwanted body fat, and also help with their lean muscle mass to keep that on them,
right,
while they're doing all of these hormones to really balance them out. And when you use that in conjunction with the other hormones that we just spoke about, PT141 and oxytocin, that's going to be a winning combination to really get that person where
So
they
the
need to
growth
be.
hormones, you're using tessamorelin
That's my favorite.
with ipamorelin or just by itself?
I'll typically recommend doing that with ipamorelin, and the reason why is because what ipamorelin is going to do is it's going to open up the pathways for the tessamorelin to really be absorbed more efficiently, and it also stops the body from overproducing its own IGF-1,
Right.
its own growth hormone.
And probably it doesn't hurt to add in DSIP.
DSIP is wonderful for this because
Yeah.
it's going to help with their sleep patterns. And that's the reason why what's happening with the hormone replacement therapy, the doctors will want to bring in progesterone because that's where it's going to help with sleep as well. But if you get that wrong, you could really get that wrong. So
Yeah.
in the meantime, if you have DSIP, which is going to help to reset their circadian rhythm and get them to sleep in the right way, that's going to be a winning combination.
So are we able to say, don't take any of these hormones and just take peptides? Or should there be a combination? How do you normally dial it in? Do you start with the peptides, then add the hormones? Do you start with the hormones, then add the peptides? Do you do them together simultaneously? What do you suggest?
That's a fantastic question. And for years, when I was in telehealth at the largest online clinics in the world, we would actually do them in conjunction together, because what the hormones are essentially going to do is they're going to establish a baseline, get you to that equilibrium. And then at the same time that you're doing that with your hormone replacement therapy, you're bringing in the peptides to get them to their goals of overall wellness and health quicker.
Do you ever suggest adding in like a BPC and a TB for...
That was actually the next one I was going to bring in.
Okay.
And I'm so glad that you're already ahead of me. BPC, and I always say this, there is not a protocol out there that could not benefit from having BPC 157 in it.
Right.
And you bring that in, why? Because it's going to enhance the absorption of collagen. At the same time, it's going to help with joints, ligaments, tendons, help with gut health. There's so many reasons to bring in BPC. And within everything that we just spoke about, from DSIP to bringing in tessamorelin, oxytocin, PT141, adding in BPC with that is a fantastic combination, in addition to the HRT that they should be doing as well.
Right. I think I would add to it a little bit. I think that we should divide into menopausal and perimenopausal.
Yes.
And early perimenopausal versus late perimenopausal, right? So as I'm starting to learn about it, it really has helped me. I think when you're early perimenopausal, you may actually be able to do peptides first, right? And I think the reason I say that is because it may help to dial in the amount of hormone that you need. Mm-hmm. A lot of times these hormones are for mood.
Yes.
Right? And so if we can try to adjust your mood perimenopausally first with peptides, then you can maybe dial in the hormone later adjustment.
I completely agree with you.
Late perimenopausal, I think, is a little bit more of a combination of the two. Yeah. And then what I think is most interesting is, okay, I'm now on my hormones and I want to kill my husband. I don't want to sleep with him. Yep. I don't have energy. I sleep terrible. Like I hear this over and over again now as I've started to pay attention to it. And I'm on these hormones and the hormones are driving me nuts.
Right.
It's actually weird, right? You're taking all these hormones to feel better and they're actually like driving you nuts.
Pushing you over the edge.
And I think those are the patients where you probably start to bring in the peptides and you can kind of even out the mood and 100%. Even out the sleep and even out the sex. And that's where I think we really have a position to help people a lot. Okay, so overall, peptides we're suggesting for patients in their perimenopausal, menopausal stage. My suggestion would be glow, right? Nobody in their 40s and 50s is not going to benefit from some collagen.
Male or female.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to put in glow, which is BPC 157, TB 500, GHKC, which is a copper peptide. Some patients, the copper peptide can be a little bit irritating to them. They get a little itchiness from the sting. What I've noticed is if you leave the syringe out for a minute so it's not cold, it actually feels, it helps reduce the sting. But if the copper bothers you, you can just do BPC 157 and TB 500, which is Wolverine. But we're going to say adding glow. We're going to add in, what else?
I would go with also bringing in
PT141 and oxytocin for mood and for
libido,
making sure that you get more attracted to your husband or partner or whoever else is in your life. DSIP?
Absolutely, to help reset that circadian rhythm as things are changing hormonally.
And then either bring in Reta or tessamorelin.
Yes.
And if we're going to do tessamorelin, let's do it with ipamorelin, so it come in the same vial. So in the morning, you'll use glow. At night, you'll use DSIP, tessamorelin, PT141, and oxytocin, right? Okay, we got it dialed in. That's it. We got our women taken care of now. What about the guys? Let's talk about guys. And people don't realize, but now we're starting to realize that probably men go through menopause in their 40s and 50s, right?
Absolutely.
And so with men, the issue becomes that gut issue, visceral fat issue, lack of energy issue, sleep issue, inflammation issue, not that different than women.
No.
But men actually get even less attention than women because it's kind of like, you're just getting old.
Yeah.
All right, what do we do for men?
And that's the excuse that I've been hearing more than anything is like, oh, it's just my age. Oh, I'm just getting older. But we don't have to submit to that type of thinking, and we can actually age better. So for men that are either going to be on testosterone replacement therapy, or if they are still producing enough of their luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, which is their baseline of testosterone, and they want to do things naturally, they can do things like enclomiphene citrate and HCG to boost that up hormonally. So if you get the hormones taken care of, and then we go into the peptides, and to really optimize everything from A to Z for them, it's going to be a little bit similar to what we see with the ladies, to where bringing in tessamorelin is going to be fantastic with ipamorelin, because now you're going to reduce that visceral fat, you're going to increase the lean muscle mass, you're going to get better sleep, so cognitive focus goes up, rest and recovery goes up. Adding in the Wolverine, or even the Glow, as we were just saying just a minute ago.
Or Clo.
Absolutely, for gut health at the same time. Great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
You're going to give yourself an injection, go all the way. Right?
Make it count.
Yeah. 4 peptides is better than 3 with the inflammatory. And I've tried Wolverine, I've tried Glow, and I've tried Clo.
So what was your experience with it?
I love Clo, man.
Yeah.
That stuff is just boom.
Yep.
Like you really get a lot out of it. So for me, it's like if I'm going to draw up a syringe and I can afford it. So, we have our 3 different packs, but, I think Clo is the way to go. Okay, so, all right, let's get back on topic.
No, I like that, because you're absolutely right. Bringing in the Tessa blend with ipamorelin, bringing in Clo, right? And then from there, when it comes to the guys, we can also benefit with PT-141 and oxytocin as well. Because I hear too often from guys that go, hey, man, I really love my wife, and I'm really attracted to her, but I just have no desire. I'm just going through my days. I'm an electrician, or I'm this, that, and I'm just working, and I come home, I'm tired. So, PT-141 oxytocin, it fires up that spark again.
Yeah.
And then one other thing that I should have mentioned for the ladies as well was, and that I'll mention for the gentlemen now, is NAD+.
Right.
That little level of energy to really kick up the way that you feel is really second to none.
And so now you start to notice how silver pack, gold pack, and platinum pack become important, because you might want, for your primary issue is my body hurts and I'm achy all over. Okay, let's get you on Clo, which is on the platinum level, but you don't have an issue with sleep. You want to put on a little bit of muscle and lose a little bit of weight. Okay, let's get you on tessamorelin with ipamorelin, which will actually help you with your sleep too if you take it at night. Yeah. And then maybe like you need a little love, and so we get you on the PT-141 and the LR and your
oxytocin.
Or I'm sorry, that's right, oxytocin.
Yep.
So we get you on the PT-141 and oxytocin, and now you're rocking and rolling. So there's ways to kind of dial all of this in. And I think that one of the things that we are going to have available is, one is we're going to train physicians so that the physicians are hopefully having these conversations with their patients. But we also will have a platform where the physician can refer patients to Alpha.
Absolutely.
We'll have a telehealth program, and all of our telehealth nurse practitioners, physicians, healthcare providers are going to be able to know our platforms, and then be able to work with patients to be able to say, okay, what's your primary concern? What's your secondary concern? What's your tertiary concern? And we put a pack together that becomes very specific. And sometimes the pack will get adjusted as you move along.
Absolutely.
You might need something at the beginning and you don't need it as you go on for a couple of months, or you might need something and then we adjust it, and we'll keep on working with you to make sure that it's right.
It's all about learning that patient and what their needs are and what their goals are, and then understanding what is going to be able to fit in each one of those categories for that person. So, yeah, it's really exciting stuff what we're able to do. And as far as educating the practitioners in addition to the patients, and educated practitioners is only going to help their patient that much more. And I love that what's been really driving this is how educated the patients have become.
Right.
And now that's where we are, where we can come in and go, okay, this is where we see the landscape of the industry, and this is how we can actually add a lot more benefit to it.
Okay, let's talk about one other thing that I think is really important. What I find a lot as I've started to get involved in the peptide business is that physicians tend to be a little leery of any change.
Sure.
physicians tend to be very much like, you know, this is what medicine is like, and this is what we're trained to do. And honestly, it's a little bit robotic to me. There was an orthopedist who's a mentor of mine that told me something that was very helpful to me. He said, and I think this is both for physicians to think about and for patients to think about, right? So 90% of physicians will have studied what they studied in their residency, and they might make very minor changes as they go along, but it's what I learned in my residency is what I do. Mm-hmm. And I've told you this before. Yep. I've been practicing 25 years. I do very little of what I learned in my residency anymore. Now, ankle surgery is still an ankle surgery for a ligament repair, but what I use, how I use it, how I repair it, it's changed and evolved over time. 90% of physicians will not change, right? And so it becomes, well, this is what the textbook taught me, and this is what the pharmaceutical company explained to me, and this is what I'm going to do, right? Out of the remaining 10%, 9 out of 10 will go to a course and learn something. And 1 out of the 10, so 1% of the population of physicians is actually the one that is evolving the field and making a change, right? So now you go to a physician and you say, hey, you should really think about using peptides. And they start kind of going, oh my God, how do I, you know? So one thing we did is we said, listen, if you don't want to have involvement in the decision making, but you want peptides to be available to your patients and you want it to be ethically and compliantly available to your patients, Alpha will take care of it.
Exactly.
You just scan a QR code, set up a telehealth appointment, we'll handle everything. You don't have anything to worry about, but your patients are taken care of. But I think that the other thing is, like, with physicians getting involved, and what they need to really understand is that their patients are wanting peptides. And their patients are going out and researching peptides. And their patients are then going to come to their physician and say, you know what, I've been looking at these peptides and, you know, I think BPC 157 might be helpful to me. And, you know, maybe I want to try something for my libido. As a physician, you're almost obligated to really learn about this stuff. And I think that Alpha has the opportunity to teach physicians so that if they want to carry the peptide, they can. If they want to refer it out, they can. But your patients are asking for peptides. And if you're not offering it to them, one, you're doing a disservice to them. And two, there's a good chance they're going somewhere else.
Exactly. And they could be getting it off of a research site. They don't know. And they're coming to the physician that they're looking at as the authority.
Right.
And when the physician doesn't have those answers or they're not well versed in it, it kind of takes away from that level of authority that they always should have.
Right.
Right. And that's where we're seeing the physicians that want to be educated are getting more education. And I'm really proud and honored to be part of any kind of education that we can offer them.
And that's a big part of what it's important to us at Alpha. We really are going out and saying, what level of education you want, we have available for you. You want every single PubMed article related to every single peptide? We got it. You want to know the basics of peptides and don't want to be involved in the process of what your patients are going to do with it? We got it, and we'll do it compliantly and make sure your patients are taken care of. You want to learn to the point where you can be a longevity doctor and carry peptides in your practice and add it into your entire armamentarium of care? We got it. So really, we will offer you whatever level of information you want. And it was really important to me because what I noticed when I first started practicing was that there were patients coming in to see me, and they would say, I have cartilage damage in my ankle, and I don't want to have an ankle replacement or an ankle fusion. I want my cartilage replaced or repaired. And I know that you do this X, Y, and Z procedure that you've written up, and that's what I want. And I was like, first of all, I didn't even realize people read the stuff that I write.
Right.
Second of all, I can't believe this person is coming in so informed.
Right.
So to physicians out there, I want to make sure they understand. People are now not like 20 years ago where they would come in, you would tell them what to do, And that was the gold standard.
Right.
People are going out and saying, okay, my physician said this, let me look up what that means. And then there's a rabbit hole that opens up. And as they start to research, they start to realize, oh, there's this other option and this other option and this other option and this other option. Let me look at those.
Mm-hmm.
And then they start to figure out what's going to work for them or what they might want to learn about. And that is huge in the peptide world right now.
Definitely.
So you tell your patient, for example, you're perimenopausal and I'm going to start you on hormones. The patient might say, okay, but at the same time, they're going to go out and research, okay, this is what's hormones, this is what's going on with me, this is what's available with peptides. And they're going to come back to you a lot of times and give you the first shot at, you know what, doc, what about my mood? What about my energy? What about my sleep? Can I try peptides for that? And when you're not informed, you might lose that patient.
Mm-hmm.
Or worse than you losing the patient, you're not informed and they are going to go out and do it on their own and they can get themselves in trouble not using the right products.
Right.
So I think it's really important for physicians to start to look at this in more detail. And we're going to put on seminars and courses to educate people because for us, education is huge.
We already have been, which has been nice. Right before we really start to push that button for the serious launch, we're taking the time to educate the physicians that we're working with and also the distributors that are speaking to the physicians that we're working with and really building that team organically, but the right way to where they have the knowledge and they can speak about these things intelligently to be able to guide everyone the way that they should be guided.
Right.
And that's what we want to do is put that power right back into the physician's hands to know about peptides, not have the patients know more about peptides than they do.
Right. And I think the other thing that we've started to look at is how many peptides are essential? How many peptides are, like, there's 400 peptides or more. You don't need to know 400 peptides. There's probably, like in everything else, there's probably 20, 25 peptides that are going to be 90% of what you use. And really 10 peptides that are going to be 95% of what you use.
The core.
Right?
Yeah.
So we've put information together on 20 peptides. These 20 peptides are what you should know as your core.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can add on to those for your own specialty. So the 20 peptides are the core. And maybe if you're a urologist, you'll need to know 2 or 3 others specific for you. If you're an orthopedist, there'll be 2 or 3 specific for you. But really, if you know about that 20 core peptides, and we'll be happy to share that with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing is, we've already got your pack set up for you with those 20 peptides being at the core of the packs. So now you can look and say, I'm an orthopedist and I want to use peptides for tissue repair. Some of our patients will have some nerve issues. I want to deal with that. I want patients optimized for surgery. And, you know, there's a lot of arthritis in my practice, so I want to treat arthritis. We already got you set.
Yep.
Like, you don't even have to really think about it. It's like 3 or 4 things that you really need to learn, and you're going to use that 90% of the time. And for the 10% that you're not going to use it, you can either learn more or refer them to us, and we'll handle the other, you know, esoteric stuff that is different.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Because we've really taken a look at this from a bird's eye view and said, okay, how can the physicians actually engage with us and make it as easy as possible for them to where they can go, hey, I want to stay in my lane. I like doing what I'm doing here. I'll let you guys take care of this. Or, you know what, that is interesting to me and people are asking me about that. How do I get more information on that? And realistically, we want to become the number one resource when it comes to peptides at any level for the physicians, where if it's going to be for just referring them over to us to take care of, if it's going to be for the education piece of it, whatever we can do to help.
And I also think the other side of it is that we were talking about how patients go down rabbit holes. We want to be the rabbit hole.
Right.
So that you don't end up going in esoteric directions and going and buying stuff that is off the beaten path. So we want to be able to provide you with not only all of the research you want to do, the depth of research you want to do, but also be able to buy product that you know is compliant, right? All right. One last thing that we need to talk about, Alpha Bioscience.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about little bits of why, but I really want to summarize what is Alpha Bioscience. Why did it come about? what are the things that we are doing that are different than other companies out there? And why is it that people should trust us?
Well, the number one thing that I would say why people should trust us is because we're a brand that's led by a physician that also has a health advisory board of physicians and has done the work to really say, these are the peptides that we're going to be going to market with, and this is the reason why we look at these and we say these are safe. But you don't even need to take our word for it because we're a group of physicians. We actually take the time to prove it to you with the right paperwork, with the certificate of analysis that has everything from the HPLC and the endotoxin report on there as well from a third party. But in addition to that, we also are looking at the industry and saying, how do we legitimize this? How do we bring this to the masses of other physicians that want to actually just help their patients? Because that's what at the end
or
of the
healthcare providers,
or healthcare
right?
providers, yes, thank you. Any healthcare provider to where they just go, I just want to be able to help my patients be better and help them with their health and whatever it is that their goals are, but in a compliant way.
Right. I think, for me to summarize Alpha Bioscience, and the reason we started it is we want to take the wild, wild west out of peptides.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
So we want you, instead of like going down crazy rabbit holes and not knowing what you're getting, to feel comfortable that any level of education, either as a physician or a patient that you want, will provide to you. From PubMed articles that are peer-reviewed and published in journals, to just understanding what a peptide does, to understanding the dosing of what peptides should be taken, to understanding how to take it, how long to take it. Some peptides you should take for short periods of time. Some peptides you take 3 times a week. Some peptides you take every day. Some peptides you can take for months. That information is really critical, and we want to provide that to people. The second is to make sure that the peptides you're getting are certified, tested, U.S. manufactured, and there's a no-brainer. To the point where you spoke about already, there's a QR code on every bottle. That QR code is going to take you straight to a certificate so you can feel comfortable that this peptide is manufactured in the United States, it's batch tested, and is 99% pure for all the information you need. Third is, what peptides should I take? We got you. Not only do we provide you with, if you know what peptides you want, but we also will provide you with packs and have a telehealth program where we will go through with you and find out what your symptoms are and help you through that process. So the goal is to take the kind of noise out of it and give you a very legitimate platform with tons of information, education, physician-backed, research-tested, and batch-tested peptides that you feel totally comfortable with. There's nothing here that you're not going to feel comfortable with.
I love that. Compliant, credible, reliable, and consistent.
I love that.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
the professor speaks again.
That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Because, when you have the credibility of physicians, you have the reliability and the consistency of the product, and then you've also got the education behind it, that's going to be something that everybody wins at every step of the way.
Yep. And I think the other thing that's really important that we're doing, and we will continue to grow this as we go along, is I'm not comfortable yet with the idea of, peptides have to be subcutaneously injected. I'm not comfortable with the idea that we can't take these peptides and make other ways of using them, such as like sublingual under your tongue or in the nose sprays, or combining different peptides to make things like Glow and Clo with 3 or 4 peptides blended together that become our proprietary ones. Or like we're working on anti-inflammatory creams.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on
the serums.
Yes, serums for the face that are incredible. We're not only now using peptides, but we're now bringing in products like CBD, CBG that we know anti-inflammatory, can help with reducing inflammation, anxiety. There's a million ways that we're going to keep growing, and we're very committed to status quo is not good enough. We want to continue to constantly grow and be at the forefront of this frontier of longevity and health. And some of that will be peptides, some of that will be other products that we add in, all of which is in the best interest of patients.
That's the key right there, the overall wellness and health of that patient. Yeah. I love that.